Hello. Happy Sunday, everybody. I want to just say that it is the strangest feeling having to put on mascara at 6 o'clock, 6:30 p.m. on a Sunday. It is so weird. I've looked like such a bum all day. And I have to always put myself up like, okay, like get it together because not everybody is going to be watching this at 7 p.m. on a Sunday. Y'all are probably in your pajamas, ready to relax for the night. And I'm up there putting on mascara like, oh, I'm going to wash this off in about an hour, but whatevs. Happy Sunday, you guys. I just wanted to share that with you because I think that's funny. I'm trying to get my chat situation figured out. Okay, so I can see you guys. Um, it might be a little bit delayed. Anyway, whatever. It is what it is. I'm glad that you're here. I think, Mom, that you finally made it on. I know that my sister was sending out the link in our family chat. So I hope everybody was able to find this okay. If you are on here, you can type your name. Some of you, your names already are in your, what's it called? Your handle? I don't know, your user name. I don't know, but you can go ahead and drop your name in there so that we know who you are and we know that you're here. Nancy, you had mentioned, Nancy sent me a message and said she's not sure how to chat. So Nancy, if you look, if as you're watching this, it might be a little different on your phone. I have it on my desktop, but there's literally to the right for me, there's a whole live chat situation going on. So check over there to the right, or maybe it's under if it's on your phone. But it should be there. I should say live chat or something like that. So you can get in there and let us know that you made it on here. Yeah. Okay. There you are. You got it. Okay. I don't know if Angela is here. I'm going to answer some questions Angela sent me that I saw before I came on the live, and I'm going to answer them because I think that they could be helpful to everybody. So in the chat or in the title, I put 3 things I want to talk about tonight. 1, doing it anyway. 2, falling off the wagon. And 3, I want to talk about half marathon timelines. And the timeline situation was for Angela because I know she was kind of asking me and feeling it out. And you're not the first, Angela, which is why I want to talk about it on here. It is a very common question. And, you know, the half marathon for some people is always one of the things that kind of like lingers out there. And there's always like this curiosity about it. Like, oh, I wonder if that could be something that I'm interested in. So I'll just talk to you a little bit tonight before we wrap up about like the half marathon timelines, what to expect, when you would have to get started, that kind of situation. So I'll talk to you about that before we close out tonight. But I wanted to start with, first of all, if you have any other questions, type them in the chat. If there's anything else, Mike is actively working on, he stopped in here and he was like, you can tell them that I'm working on a mobile platform update situation. I don't know. He said something along those lines, that he is working on a mobile platform solution. So I know Angela mentioned she's having trouble with pictures. I know Daisha, yours always comes in sideways for some reason. Nancy, you seem to be rocking it. There are pretty much everybody who's posting, it seems to be working okay. Mom, I know you still got to get on there and get I think you have your app. We need to make sure that you get on there so that you can get on there posting too, you and Terry. So if you guys have questions with that, I have several of you that I need to reach out to individually just to make sure you've got everything that you need so I can start seeing your face within that group and in our community. So you can search the app. If you've downloaded it and you forget what it even is, it's Fluent Community. I don't know if it will be the same thing, Mike, whenever, I'm sure you'll tell us once you update it, but he's been up there working on it tonight. And I think he purchased something new, which I don't know if it's a new platform, but he is on the case and he is working on it. And so just a shout out to you all for being so flexible and helping us learn and understand and figure all of this out, because I know it's not always easy and smooth sailing, but it is so helpful to us. And we're just going to keep rolling with it and seeing how it goes. So keep letting the questions, please keep sending us those questions and problems and things like that so we can help you work through it. Okay. So I want to tell you guys, I'm actually going to flip-flop this. I'm going to talk about falling off the wagon. It's one of my favorite topics because I know you all can relate to this, the falling off the wagon situation. I am having one of those days where today I fell off the wagon so hard. I feel like I got like caught in the tires and I'm being dragged behind the wagon like the rest of the way. And I'm saying it because I know you guys can relate to this. Like, and it can, and be in regards to anything. not just with running. I'm talking in regards to both moving my body and nutrition. So you guys know that the whole, like everything I feel like that I'm doing as far as taking care of my body, the majority of it winds down to being able to run, right? Again, and that's probably an unhealthy, situation. All the other stuff is benefits, but I'm always trying to figure out like, okay, well, how can I get my run back? Because I love it so much. I'm so happy for those of you who can do it. But walking has been such a love of mine. Like I have learned to love it recently, but you guys know that I'm always trying to do things to try to maximize, obviously get my body in better condition to be able to get back to running because I love it so much. So 10 out of 10, highly recommend moving your body, getting outside, doing it. Anyway, but so my point is I've been really trying to focus on nutrition. And I know my family, those of you who are on here right now, we've kind of all been doing it since the holidays, and we've set some goals and are kind of like touching base with each other. You guys know that I don't want you to connect your moving your body with your nutrition. I don't want those two to be codependent. I don't want moving your body to be determined by how you handled your nutrition in the day, how you ate, how calories. I've been in that place before, and I find that when they're tied together, that whole concept of, moving your body or, running or walking to burn calories becomes such a downer and becomes so like one can negate the other so quickly that I have really encouraged you guys. I have podcast episodes about how to separate the two. I don't think that they should be tied together. I think moving your body, you should 100% be looking at, exercising and moving your body and meeting those goals separate from what you put into your mouth. Like, I think you need to do that regardless. It is so good for you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and do not tie it to your nutrition. So I don't like to talk about nutrition typically because I don't want those to be tied together. We are a running community, a walking community, a Solemates Move Your Body community, and I don't want those two to become dependent on each other. But I'm sharing this with you because one, I guarantee many of you are on and off some sort of plan or nutrition situation where you're trying to quote unquote do better, eat better, make some changes in your life. I feel like we all always are. We're either in that mode of like, I'm doing it, or we're in that mode of like, F it. I'm like, so not doing it. Like I'm not thinking about it, but I know you have all been there, done that. Like you've been in this place before. And so I'm sharing this because we had just decided going into the new year that one thing that we wanted to focus on, and I'm saying we because I know that they're on here listening to this, was really keeping like our sugar intake in check. And if you know me, you know my family, you know that literally dessert is like its own entity, and it literally provides the most joy and warmth and goodness in our life that I don't know if it's like this for everybody, but that is 100% something that we are like really love, right? We love our sweets and sugar. So anyway, we had decided that we were going to try to cut that down and pay attention to the added sugars and things, blah blah blah. And so it's been going really, really great. And I do have some things I want to share with you guys that have helped change my mindset. I think that it can be used not just with nutrition, but in regards to running and moving your body, which is why I'm going to share with you almost like game-changing moments for me on this journey. Anyway, it's all been going, very well. I feel like I've set realistic expectations. My mindset is on point, but today I literally fell off so hard that again, I feel like I got caught in the tire and drugged the whole way down the road. So I want to be able to relate this with you guys if you've had that moment too. And I really did. Like I'm at the point right now, literally today. Have you all ever done this? Where like you have, fallen off the wagon, or you didn't, you messed up or whatever. And then you're just like literally like throwing the towel. Like I'm literally even like, I'm not even drinking hydrating today. Like I'm literally double fisting lemonade. Like I'll forget water. I'm not, whatever. It's been a thing, but I feel like because these past 5 weeks, I have worked so hard on retraining my mindset. And I do have to give a shout out to Daisha. I know she's on here because she is like the queen of like recalibrating mindsets when it comes to like, oh my God, this is what I did, or this is what I'm doing. She always takes a moment to say like, okay, take a deep breath. Like this is all the good things that are going on for you. And so like just recalibrating, hold on, like we don't have to throw in the towel just because we had a bad moment or a bad day. And I can't tell you how literally preaching that to myself over and over again and really listening to that message of it, for you guys in this conversation of falling off the wagon, even in regards to like, oh, didn't get any workouts in a week, right? Or I didn't move my body, those kinds of things, especially in this kind of weather. It's so easy to just be like, oh, forget it, forget it, forget it. But to know that literally you don't have to wait for a Monday to restart. You don't have to wait for the next week to get back on track, right? You literally can do it within that same day. Within that same day, you can say, okay, well, the next choice I make is going to be a good choice. And it's so funny how, like, when you start looking at things like the longevity of what we're trying to do here, like, we're not trying to just exercise to get to, one point and then be done. We're not trying to figure out how to run to a certain point and then, be done. Like, our whole goal is to move our bodies, to become healthier, to become more physically active, to have this as a strategy for us and something that helps us to live longer and live happier, run your happy life, that situation. And so when you look at it in that regards, in terms of like, okay, this is something that I want to do for my entire life. What is one day? What is one choice? What is one mistake? Like, we have to stop catastrophizing and saying like, okay, forget it. And so I feel so good about the fact that, because for me, a forget it could have lasted weeks, if not months. I forget it when it came to nutrition. I love running. But when it came to nutrition, it could literally be months of me just saying, I fail. I'm a failure. I'm a quitter. Like, I can't do this, blah, blah, blah. But I feel so motivated, even though today I have again fallen off the wagon. I feel so excited about like, okay, but it's okay. I almost feel a sense of relief. And I have to tell you why. Not having made having made mistakes over the past 5 weeks has been a lot of pressure, like waiting for the ball to drop. And I know you guys can relate to this, waiting for the ball to drop of like, okay, at some point I'm going to quit. At some point I'm going to mess this up. And I assumed that once I messed it up, it would be confirmation that like, okay, yeah, I can't do this. Like, yeah, I failed. Like, forget it. I'm done. That's who I am. That's what I do. But then it was such a relief to be like, you know what? Like, yeah, today was not a great day. I did not kind of stick to my plan. And here we are. But I feel so good about, okay, tomorrow is a new day and tonight's a new night. And it doesn't have to be that way. And I almost feel like relieved to have gotten that moment over with, to say like, yeah, guess what? Like, this happened. I did this. I, fell off the wagon, but I'm going to climb back on tomorrow and that's okay. Like, it's okay. It really is okay. Because if we don't have that mindset in regards to all of this, then how are we going to be able to do this for life, right? And I switched my mindset. So the thing I was going to tell you that has been a game changer, I stopped thinking about this in terms of, short-term goals, in terms of I know you're so like used to this, right? Like, oh, well, I'm going to get in shape, or I'm going to look better or feel better by this date, or we're guilty of like, I'm going to lose this many pounds, or, and then you think like that's an end goal, right? Like, oh, I only have to do this for this long. And then once I get there, I'm good. Like, I did it. But it's so crazy because that mindset, what it has you doing, I feel like for me, by taking that away and instead saying like, I want to do something that feels comfortable enough that it is sustainable over the course of years. I want to think about this in terms of years. And it's funny because when I think about that and the choices that I make every day, I start to avoid things. Like, I no longer want to have that feeling of like depravity. I don't want to feel deprived. Like, if I don't want to feel like those moments that I've had in my life, because you guys, I've done this a million times over and I've failed a million times over. I don't want to have that moment in my life where I'm like, okay, well, I know you feel awful and you're just like really hungry and you wish you could have that, but just go to bed. And then, you'll wake up in the morning and maybe you'll lose a few pounds or whatever. Just go to bed and it'll be over. Just brush your teeth and forget that you're hungry or whatever. Like, I don't want that, because that's not how I want to live my life. And so instead, I've been saying like, okay, well, what feels good to me? So I'm not chasing like this idea of, losing weight or tracking pounds. Like, what feels good to me? Like, it would feel good to me to have this, something healthier than this. Or again, we were talking about sugar here. So maybe to have something that fits within the parameters of my sugar that I'm trying to stick to, and having it, because that feels good. Like, that feels sustainable. And that is an improvement from what I'm doing. And so I'm out of this mindset of reaching a goal. And I wonder if this can be translated for you guys, maybe nutrition wise, or and moving your body wise, right? If it can be translated in the same way, like, how do we reset this so that when you have a week, when you don't get any workouts in, I see you guys talking about that in the chat, how do we reset it so that it's literally a blip on the radar? Like, that's not the point. Like, we have to be able to make this something manageable and doable, not so that we like reach this certain goal and then we're done, but like, hey, I want to be a mover. I want to be a runner. I want to be a walker. I want to be active my whole life. So what does that look like? Like, how do I start reframing it so that like, okay, yeah, there might be a race that I want to do at this time, that time, or the other, but like beyond that, I want to move. I want to move my body every day. I want to move my body every week. I want to set some goals. I want running to be in my life forever. Like, how do we change that so that we don't beat ourselves up to the point of feeling like a failure? And how do we make it right? Like, if I want to translate this into running. So an example of this that would be similar to what I'm referring to with nutrition would be, imagine that you are going out on your runs, right? But you've decided you have this expectation for yourself, right? And we've all been there. I have been there, but you set this expectation of like, well, I want to run this pace, or I have to run this distance, or if I don't go this far, it doesn't count, right? Like that whole concept of like, well, I should be able to do this. I should be able to do that. I want to run in this place. I want to run like that, blah, 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 blah. And we can set ourselves up just the same way we would as if we were to say like, I'm going to have no sugar. I'm going to have no carbs. I'm only going to have like 1,200 calories. Like that's the same thing. So it's so overwhelming that you find yourself having to like dig so deep just to make these things happen. And you kind of do it saying like, okay, just make this happen. Like, I'm so hungry, but if I go to bed, then I'll feel better in the morning or whatever. Instead of saying like, what can I do instead? Running, same way, right? Like instead of saying like, oh, well, I'm going to run this pace for this many miles and I'm going to go at this time. Like maybe that feels like it's not sustainable for a lifetime. So how can we change that up to like, okay, that feels too much. Like this doesn't feel enjoyable as far as sustaining this through my life. What does feel sustainable? Like what does feel good? What would be a better choice that would keep me active and keep me moving, but still not make me feel like I can't do this forever? Because if it doesn't feel like forever, then it's not sustainable, and it's never gonna. I've talked about this a lot in like the half marathon training videos that are dropping in the courses, but it's like there will never be a moment where like you reach a destination. And I think the same could be said for nutrition as well, right? Like there's never a point where you're like, oh, I made it, everything's great. Like, no, it's on to the next. It's on to the next. It's on to the next. The same thing is true with running or walking. The minute you hit a time goal or you hit a pace, it's like, oh, but I wonder. So we have to get out of that mindset of like this constant like need for perfection and this constant need for like, creating this version of ourselves that we think should exist. Like, I have to be this person. And honestly, how realistic are the goals that we're setting anyway? Like, how realistic are they? And I'm talking about, how hard it is to compare ourselves and social media and all those things. Like what feels right for us, what feels good, and what feels sustainable. Like, okay, and one of the things I've been doing recently, I've been doing a lot more walking. I've been doing running as much as I can, but I have to do walking right now. But I'm trying to do it in ways, you guys know I'm the queen of keep it simple, because if you make it difficult, if you make it about like I have to wear these socks and I have to carry this fuel belt and I have to go at this time and I have to wear these shoes, like forget it. It's too much for me. I'm already done. But if I can go in I literally had a sweater similar to this in a different color and a pair of jeans, and I got my first workout in that way earlier this week. If I can make it simple, then it becomes sustainable for me. If I can make it sustainable, then I can do it for life. It's not something that I'm dreading or something that I feel like I have to force, but this feels doable to me. And so I have felt really good about that, over these past couple of weeks. And I want you guys to kind of reframe in that sense too. Falling off the wagon is a blip in the radar. Don't wait until Monday to restart. Restart the next choice that you can make, whether it's moving that night or moving the next morning. It happens to be Monday tomorrow, but if it wasn't, then I would say, okay, well, tomorrow, we're not going to do this 2 days in a row. Tomorrow, we're going to get back to it. And if it feels too intimidating, if it feels too overwhelming, then maybe then the goal that you're setting or what you're trying to achieve is a little bit, not where you are and not what you want to be doing if it doesn't feel sustainable over years. Okay. That's really important. I'm not talking about in a training cycle. I'm talking about over the course of years. I want you to look back. I want you to be like, okay, can I do this for the next 5 years? Right? Can I keep this up and make this a part of who I am, my lifestyle for the next 5 years? If not, what do I need to change that makes that feel doable? Okay. I hope that helps you guys. Yeah, obviously, Jeff, you are not alone. I like Mike and I, Mike is saying the same thing. I think I feel like I did pretty good with my workouts this week, but but is it sustainable? We've got this. We're starting again tomorrow and we're going to make it sustainable. Okay. So the do it anyway tip, you guys. I love this concept. I've talked about this a million times. It's kind of in relationship to what we were talking about after we set those realistic goals. I just need to remind you that you're never going to be completely motivated to start moving. Okay. So once we've set those realistic goals, once we've, considered the entire the longevity of this new lifestyle that we want to create, we want to have, I want you to remember that you will rarely ever have a moment when you are just sitting there and thinking yourself motivated. So you're going to have to just do the thing. You're going to have to do the thing and you're going to have to do it unmotivated. Okay. So just your reminder that if you're feeling like, okay, this is sustainable, this is where I am, but I just don't want to do anything, like I want you to stop thinking and start moving because I want you to do it anyway. You don't have to be meeting those crazy PRs, any type of distance or a certain pace. Like I just want you to move. And it can look like so many different things. So sometimes for me, it looks like walking on the treadmill. Sometimes for me, it means walking outside. Sometimes it means, doing a video. I literally, you guys know I did the K-pop Demon Hunters video several times. I had my whole family doing it the other day, but I was moving and it felt good to just keep moving, right? To do the thing. Not initially, really ever does it feel good to get started. But once you get started, it always feels good to continue. Remember our 10-minute rule from last week? So I highly encourage you guys to just do it anyway. This weekend, yesterday, I was having some really big feelings, some really big emotions. And I woke up and I was so upset. It was Saturday morning. I was very emotional. I was, angry and I was sad and there were just things going on. And I could not shake it. And I was so upset because it was Saturday, it was the weekend, and I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to spend it with my family, and I just couldn't let it go. And I said to Mike, I was like, I have to go. Like I have to go for a walk. Now, for me, typically, in the past, I would have been like, I'm gonna go run until it goes away. That's not an option for me right now. So I had to walk until it went away. And it's so funny because, like, you would think I was gone for a long time, ended up being an hour and a half, and I didn't know. I had no idea how long I was out there. I just needed to walk through these emotions that I was having. And I just had to go do it. I did not want to. I wanted to kind of sit in my funk and I wanted to sit there and be grumpy and be mad. And that's okay too. Sometimes you kind of need to do that. But I felt like I needed to process it and I needed to get through it because I didn't want to spend my day like that. And so I ended up waking up and I just started walking. I was in my sweatpants and I just put my winter jacket on. It was cold. It hadn't snowed yet. Gloves and a hat, and I just started walking. And I didn't start my watch. I didn't care. Like I wasn't out because I had to be out there for a certain amount of time. I wasn't out there because I needed to get a certain mileage. I had literally no idea how far. You guys know I've had runs like this. I've talked to you about it before. No, I had no idea how far, how long. I didn't care. I just needed to walk. And I initially started walking and I cried and I was getting my emotions out. And probably for the first hour, no joke, it was just in my neighborhood, back and forth and side roads, and just literally until I could process it. And of course, I started praying while I was processing and God came through as always. After about an hour, then I was like, okay, why am I carrying this on my own? And you guys know I always tell you to offer it up. You don't have to carry burdens on your own. And I felt like I was carrying it and it was heavy. And then, after about an hour, I was like, I don't want to carry this on my own. And so I started praying and I started talking to God. And I was like, can you, carry this with me? I don't want it. I want it to go away. I don't want to feel like this. And it's wild because within the last 30 minutes, 'cause it was about an hour and a half total, I felt like a sense of calm, right? The sense of calm of the couple of the things that were coming to me, that was making me feel like I was kind of letting it go and processing it, of course, after the hour of, working through it, but then praying on it. And, this sense of look, life is full of challenges and life is really ever going to be perfect. And life is really ever going to just be easy. And how blessed are we? And I know you guys will get this, to have the challenges that we have, to be upset about the things that are upsetting us. Really think about that. If there's anything in your life that has been upsetting you this week or that has been weighing on you this week, think about that. And ask yourself the question, how blessed am I that these are the problems that I'm having, that these are the problems that are really upsetting me? How fortunate to have these first world problems that are on my mind right now. What a freaking blessing. And I felt like it took, again, that amount of time for it to just kind of work through me, wash over me, and then for me to ask for the support and have that moment of like, oh my gosh. And so by the time I got home, I was a new woman. And I think that maybe if I started praying sooner, I probably wouldn't have had to walk so far. But I feel like I'm saying this to you guys because sometimes if things just feel like too much, like of course offering it up and praying, but also moving your body and just going, whether it's going to the gym and getting on a treadmill, whether it's like, if you have a walking pad at your house, or if it's even like walking videos, whatever it is, or going out to go for a run or a walk, like just, even if you just don't start the watch, like just go until it goes away. And, you might be surprised. I ended up coming back and my watch had automatically tracked what I had done. And that's how I know it was about an hour and a half that I was out there. And I came home and I was like, okay, because I'm telling you, I was not a good place. So, offering that to you guys, do it anyway. If you're feeling frustrated, if you're carrying some heavy emotions, like go out there, move your body. If you can do it outside, even better. But if not, just move until you feel like it has moved through you. Just move until you feel like it has moved through you. Okay. I feel like I'm talking so much and so fast. I hope you guys can relate to any of this. I get so excited before getting on a live. Like, oh my gosh, I have to talk about this and I have to talk about that. And I feel like this was so helpful and I want to share about this. I think, let me check. I think Mike and, okay, Mike and Daisha are doing some testing on the app, it looks like. Sorry, that was popping up in my chats over there. They're testing some things out. So perfect. Now, let's talk about half marathon timelines, you guys. Now, the reason, again, that I want to talk about this is because this is often something that pops up on people's bucket lists. And don't worry, even if you are one of our walkers, like this is also something that could be on your radar for something that you could possibly work to in the future if it feels like the right time, the right place, and the right things going on in your season of life. But I wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of what you can expect as far as timelines go, because this is a big one. So when I talk about like training, so when we're talking about half marathon training, I want you to think first about like, okay, when exactly is my race? Okay. What is the race that I'm kind of looking for? This isn't just half marathon training. This is any training, but for the sake of this question, I want you to think about what race am I looking for? Like what's on my bucket list? What do I want to do? And then you're going to see how many weeks you have from that point, from start point until you get to that race. And we're going to count backwards. The good news, Angela, is that she had mentioned in the fall, possibly giving it a go. You absolutely have time. I think I was like, oh, I don't know. So I was like Googling it as the live was starting up and I was like, how many weeks is there until September? So anyway, you have like 30 to 34 weeks depending on where or when the race is that you want to do. And for the plans that I have plans that start as word is not early, small, that start with 2 minutes by 3 minutes times 5. Okay. So you're beyond that because you had mentioned that in our chats, but the plans that I'm referring to right now, I would say like my full, complete, like generic half marathon plans from start to finish, you would have to be at least 2 minutes of jogging, 3 minutes of walking to start. I know you're beyond that, but even if you were in that place where you're like, I feel really comfortable doing 2 by 3 times 5, even if you were in that place, you would need 25 weeks from that point to get to your half marathon distance. So you have plenty of time to get there. You are beyond that point, but we will need to kind of figure out, when it is the race that you are thinking about and where you are exactly to think about what point of the half marathon training you would need to start at. But you're not even at week 1 yet because, you've got plenty of time, if that makes sense. So 25 weeks would be like the minimum amount of time. If you're around the 2 to 3 minute mark and you wanted to run a half marathon, this is going to be like, at the very minimum, the workouts that you would need to complete to get there, if that makes sense. So you would have 25 weeks. So the answer to your question, Angela, is absolutely you can, and absolutely you are in a great place to do that. I would actually probably encourage you to do some 8K training, which I think is what we have you on. which I did tell Mike to check on that, by the way, because I know you had mentioned something about not having after week 4. So I will check on that specifically. I didn't have time before getting on the live, but I will check on that. But I would say to aim for that 8K and then go from there. So build that base, because we don't want to keep you also at peak. We wouldn't want you to do that half marathon training plan and then stay up there at peak mileage through the summer and into the fall, because that will burn you out. Big time, girly. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And now for those of you who are walkers, me included, just know that these are always some options for you too. You guys know I did the Mammoth March 20-mile hike in Richmond, not last year, the year before. So 2 years ago, when I first, shortly after I was injured. And I know Haley is planning on doing that this year. I am not planning on signing up for that, but there are options like this for those of you who are like, I have things going on with my body. Running is not in my, on my agenda right now. But I really do want to kind of try to challenge myself. They have those races. They're called the Mammoth Marches. It's one of these medals over here. Yep, that one right there. They have them all over the United States, and they look so fun. And you would hike based on, I think they have 20 and 30 milers, but it's such a great way to get that same vibe, like that half marathon distance challenge, but in a way that is more suitable for where your body is. So something to think about for you guys, because it's just such a fun, a really great experience. I would love to do that again. I haven't looked into that, but Richmond was a beautiful one, Pocahontas State Park. Okay. Let's see. Oh, Nancy said I can relate to all of it. I know, girl. I know the struggle is real. And I really do want to update you guys on the nutrition piece. I do tread very lightly because, again, I don't ever want those two connected. But I figured I would get a little bit farther on this journey to see how it goes, to see. Again, I always have in the back of my mind, like, oh, am I going to fall off of this wagon big time and hit the floor? I don't think so. I feel really good about it. And I do want to share with you guys. And I thought about maybe doing that through the podcast, doing like a little like nutrition piece, just as like to share with you guys what we've kind of been talking about, and changes that have really helped me to feel better in a lot of different ways. And just to kind of give you the background to how that all came to be and why it kind of started. It's a big conversation, but I would love to share it with you guys at some point, because I know you can all relate to that. I know we've all been there. And I know I have told you, I know I have lectured you over and over again about how not to make them connected, because at least for me, it was like the quickest way for me to not go for a run was to eat, these brownies. And, when you tie them together, it would affect what you do after that. And I don't want that to be the case. I want you to use running and walking for so many other things. But I do want to share that with you. So as time goes on, and hopefully I, can figure out and learn more, I can absolutely share that with you guys. Maybe drop it into a course or something in our group. Okay. Well, so this is February. So that means that our next live will be on February 15th. So Valentine's Day weekend, that Sunday, I will be checking back with you guys in here on YouTube. We'll be doing our live from there too. And I will be asking you guys, putting together a little survey type situation just to get some feedback from you guys. I know that we are we're going to be beta testing for a while. We're going to be figuring things out, ironing things out, as you can see, for a while. So, I just want to know, like, overall how you guys are feeling, how things are going. I need to still get some of our butts in here, posting and sharing and making sure that everybody finds us. But I will be asking you guys about that several times along the way, but hopefully so that we can get a new challenge opened up in April is my goal, to be able to open it up to the public, and if anybody else wants to join on our little team. But we'll have to see how the beta testing goes. So thank you, Mike, for all of your hard work. Thank you guys for being here to hang out with me. I love you so much. I hope you have a great week. Angela, I will send you your messages back on Facebook, and we'll get you all squared away and where you need to be. And I love you guys. Have a great week. Bye, everybody.